belated Happy New Year to all of you, and welcome to the kickoff of the 2013 NASCAR season here at Daytona International Speedway with our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series test. We're glad to see you all back here, and we've got our folks from NASCAR here led by Christy King to be able to help you out if we need anything today, and also our great folks led by Lenny Santiago with the track. Chelsea and Andrew Booth will have the wireless mics for you to ask some questions today, and we'll kick off our media availability for those questions with Danica Patrick, who is making the jump this year full-time to NASCAR Sprint Cup, driving for Stewart Haas Racing, and we'll be joined by Tony Stewart here shortly as well. So Danica, welcome back. And,
thanks. Do you want me to put his name tag back up? I got the impression like it might be a little while. Should I sit back on the right? I want to do the right thing here. Sit over here. Here. Okay. I'll do it. I don't want to be... I know who's boss. There we go, just in case he shows up.
First time out on the track today in the Gen 6 car and here back at Daytona. So talk about how things.
Oh, is that what it's called, the Gen 6 car?
6.
Oh,
yeah.
I should get those talking points probably.
Yeah. How things go for you, and what are your expectations as far as jumping out of the box this year?
Well, it's good to be back. It really is. I mean, it was a quick off season, but I'm pleased to be back in the car, and I was happy driving to the track this morning. So it started off a little bit slow. I had a little bit of vibration, and they saw that the shift mounting was sort of dragging on the drivetrain, so or the drive shaft casing or the drive shaft itself. I don't know that's how technical I am. So they thought that's where the speed was in the first run, and then came in from the second run, and it's still the same slow speed. So I shut it off, and luckily I shut it off a little bit early coming into the garage just so it doesn't run and get hot. And they noticed the car wasn't rolling. They kept trying to tell me to do something when I was sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know what else to do other than sit here. But they found that the brakes were dragging, so pushed the brakes back for the last run, and they pushed me out. And it probably looked like I was doing like a full qualifying run, but we really just pushed the brakes back to see if that's exactly what it was. And sure enough, I mean, we popped up the speed chart pretty well. So it's nice to know that the speed is there. So now we'll just start with our test plan, and they feel like they have it figured out what's going on with the brakes. So we'll get going this afternoon. But it's definitely good to be back in the GoDaddy car.
All right, if you have questions for Danica, like I said, Chelsea and Andrew have the mics for you. We'll bring them to you, and please give us your name and affiliation before you ask. We'll start with Stan, and then go to Dwight.
Thank you. Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Danica, many of the Sprint Cup drivers in the circuit today had tough years in the Nationwide Series, but somehow or another the step forward was much better for them in that respect. This is your first or second day in this car. Do you feel better in this car at all than you did in the Nationwide car?
Well, it's not like I didn't do any Sprint Cup running. I did 10 races last year, so
right.
It was a good warm-up for this year. As far as this new car in particular, I couldn't even tell the difference between Nationwide and Cup car here, so it's pretty straightforward here at Daytona. So I know that what's the most important thing I feel is this with any team, whether it's racing or another sport, is that the team itself is critical. It's important to have good energy together, understand each other well, work well together, and I feel like the switch over to Tony Gibson and his team at the end of last season for the last 2 races was a really good change, and I feel like I really saw some potential in having a good year this year, and there will undoubtedly be really tough days, and I know the areas that we need to work on, but I think that having that good run at the end of Phoenix there to go for a top 12 finish was a pretty good day. So I think we're all really confident going into this year, and we just have to be optimistic, keep our heads down, and stay positive when it gets tough.
Thank you.
Alan Cabana, NASCAR.com, over to your left.
Yeah.
Being new to the car, over the next 3 days, what do you hope to learn? What can you learn over these next 3 days? What do you hope to accomplish?
It's really going to come from the team side, I think. Just playing around with with the different things on the car based on the different shape of it, and a little bit of aero stuff, a little bit of airbox stuff. So for me as a driver, it's really not all that much to do. We'll see in bump drafting when that finally shows up, probably tomorrow, what that feels like, and the differences on pushing with these cars versus the old cars. But everything I've heard so far says that it's pretty good, and a Chevy to a Chevy has been good. So the front of our cars are a little bit sharp in the middle, but they seem to be pushing okay. So as far as just riding around by myself, I don't really think you're going to notice anything. I'm not anyway. Some better drivers might have some better feedback for you, but I don't.
DwayneDurhamRacing.com. There's just a lot of changes this year. In addition, you're moving up. That's a change for you, but it's a big change for the teams also. You got a brand new car. You got the teams have been working a lot harder than it. Could you kind of share with fans what's that like for you to move up while everybody else is really busy trying to get the car ready?
I don't think that matters. It's just a circumstance. I mean, there's a lot of rule changes in NASCAR happening from year to year, and definitely this year with the new car, there was. I know that it was really late getting like deck lids and things like that for the team. They only just got them this past week. So, I know that there's a lot of stuff going on that has made the guys kind of work longer later, especially in these first few weeks of the year. So, but that's just what happens when a new car comes out. I think that for me as a first year full-time in Sprint Cup, I think that a new car is probably a positive for me. Everybody's starting off on sort of a little bit more of a level playing field, and who knows, maybe this new car will play into my driving style better than the old one. I'm not really sure. So I've heard it drives a little bit more like a Nationwide car, so maybe it'll be something that'll be more familiar to me. And I think that especially with a new car, being a new driver, I'm not going to be looking for a feeling that the old car gave me because I don't really know it that well. So, and especially going with Tony Gibson and the guys for the last couple of races with some different setups, I think that we're starting with a clean sheet of paper for this year, and I think that could be a real positive.
Let's go to Nate, Claire, then Bob Offers.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Danica, there was a report recently about your nationwide schedule, and I know there's been talk also about Indy. Do you know extracurricular beyond Cup, like what your nationwide schedule is going to look like, and are you definitely not doing Indy 500 this year?
I can confirm to you today that I will not be doing the Indy 500. Just going to do the Coke 600. The team and I decided to focus on Cup. It's going to be plenty of work as it is, and it's going to be important for me running for the championship full-time for the first time to really keep myself focused with the Cup car. But if I do the Indy 500 moving forward, it will be with GoDaddy.
And nationwide?
Nationwide, I'm not sure if that's completely set. I know there have been some reports that have come out about running for Turner, and we're definitely talking to them and trying to figure it out, and we're definitely working on that, but there's been nothing signed yet, and the exact dates, the races, and the sponsor is yet to be confirmed for all that, so we're working on it, but I would like to. I think that would be a good weekend to do it.
Maybe like Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Talk about your mindset. You always say last year you were not going to be too hard on yourself. How do you feel coming into the first season? And how's the vision in the car? Some people were talking today. We always ask about it and get fan questions about it with the new car.
Yeah. The vision was the first thing that popped out that you were saying, and I feel like I almost sit higher in the car. I feel like I can see more out the front window. I don't know if it's the dash is lower or not, but these are things probably Tony would know. Grab a Coke, sit down. So I don't know, it seems just fine to me. I feel like I can see better out the front. And then the other part of your question, what was the first part? Mindset. I think again, just like last year, obviously things have been changing for me year to year over the last good few years now. So again, to just stay relaxed and stay positive. And as I said earlier, you can't let the tough days get you down, and I'm sure they're going to happen. So I think that's going to help us have better days, more better days, if we can stay positive and stay upbeat. And Tony Gibson has, said to all of you guys and said to me that we need to create, certain expectation levels as we go along and make them realistic. And be smart about them and move them slowly. And that's a really good perspective for him to have. I mean, it's nice and it's great to go into the season and think, gosh, we left off so well, and obviously we should run in the top 10 or 15 now every weekend. You know, we're gonna do that, but I think that it's gonna be tough to do that every weekend, given my first year. So yeah, I think everybody's got the right attitude. Everybody's excited.
Bob, we'll get to you in just a second. Let's go real quick to Tony Stewart, our 3-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, of course, co-owner of Stewart Haas Racing. Tony, welcome back to 2013, and talk about how things went out there for you at first practice and outlook for the season, perhaps here at Daytona.
We're excited, obviously. I mean, we got a lot of work to do to get all 3 teams, ready for the year, obviously, with the new body changes. But so far so good, and the big thing is just getting here and seeing the new look of the cars. I think it really looks good, and it's nice to see. I'm glad we finally got away from the car tomorrow. That wasn't, I don't think, the best of ideas by Gary Nelson, but it was nice to get back to cars that look like production cars again.
Okay, we'll continue on with our line of questioning here, starting back here with Bob Pockris. We'll go to George Diaz, and then we'll come back to Holly.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. Danica, do you know how much testing you're going to get in besides this week and then next week at Charlotte? How much testing will you get in over the next few months?
We're going to do a little short track testing next week before Charlotte, and beyond that, we'll figure it out. Probably depends on how these tests go. Really, how fast is the car, how well does it handle, how well am I getting up to speed, and how well are we clicking. So I feel like the team's pretty good at making decisions quick on their feet if we need to go somewhere and do something. So we'll address that probably at the end of next week. But right now, I think the testing's pretty well set for these 2 weeks, and then we'll regroup at Daytona.
George.
Yeah, Danica back here, behind Bob, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. You obviously get a lot of attention in cyberspace from fans and such, and it kind of goes back and forth about whether you will be successful at this level. Do you pay any attention to that stuff? Does it bother you? Because obviously there's a lot of noise, if you will, that goes on.
Well, what they say doesn't create my finishes. So I think it's great that people are talking about me, and it's great there's a conversation, but I really try not to read those things, and because at the end of the day, they really don't matter.
Holly, please.
Prettier than you are. NASCAR.com.
Probably good you say that. I win by default, don't I?
With that grizzly big, you do.
I have one for both of you, actually. Danica, I know feelings are kind of hard to pinpoint and explain, but this will be your first year going in after several years of transition, whether it was open wheel in. Is there a different feeling that you have going into the season? Is it a sense of relief that now you've gotten here and now you can focus on that? And Tony, or both of you can answer this. Is this test also a time for you guys to kind of hang out, teammates and team and do things like that? What are you doing beyond the racetrack to kind of bond?
Go ahead.
Pretty sure you just came back from the Chili Bowl, so he keeps pretty busy this time of year, but that's how he's so darn good. It's always good to get a little team camaraderie going at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, the new guy gets to buy dinner, so.
Well, good thing I'm not a guy then.
The youngest member or newest member of the team buys dinner.
Oh, gotcha.
You gotta be really
Just
careful.
drivers, or I feel like there was a new guy on my team. Should we make him buy it?
As long as I don't have to buy tonight.
I'll buy for you every time, I promise. Unless you have expensive taste in wine, do you?
No.
I can afford that. I'll get you some Coke Zero.
Okay.
The first part of your question was about, being excited about going into this season. I feel like that was a much more fun answer, more conversation. I feel really excited. I have to say that going into this season versus a lot of other seasons in my career, I just feel excited and looking forward to it. Sometimes I get a little more nervous going into the year. But I think that we've just got such a good atmosphere on the team all around that makes me excited.
Do you have anything to add, Tony?
Everything just gets funnier when Tony's up there.
Okay. All right, we'll close this out quickly. We'll go to Brian Nelson, over to Al Pierce, and we'll close it down. Switch over to Clint.
Now if we just add Clint to the mix, I feel like it could get really good. No?
What?
Brian Nelson
That's
Motor
exactly
Racing.
why it would get better.
I have a tension problem.
Brian Nelson Motor Racing Network. Danica, have you defined any statistical goals for 2013? And just give me your outlook on the Rookie of the Year battle.
I think it's very difficult at this point in time to put sort of numbers to exactly where I should be finishing. I think we can look at a little bit of what happened last year as a bit of a baseline as to expectation levels and definitely areas that need work. But it's a new year, it's a new car, and a lot of stuff changes. So obviously I'll be working full-time with Tony and the guys now, so I think everything changes a little bit, and you can never really know what to expect. So I think we just need to get started on the season, get these first few races out of the way, and then start to create some baseline for what we're expecting and what we're shooting for.
I think Al got his question taken care of.
The Rookie of the Year part of it.
Yeah. Rookie of the Year.
You just race hard. I think those are the things that just happen. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, I think that if I shoot for great results each time and keep bettering myself all the time, that's the best goal that I can have, as opposed to just shooting for Rookie of the Year. It's going to be something I'm sure that will come into thought at the end of the year. What decides that? Is it just championship, or what does? I don't even know. Is it points, or is it? I don't know. See, so I don't even know what I have to do necessarily. So do the best I can and hope that's enough.
All right, guys, thank you for your time very much. Danica, Tony, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best wishes for a great season 2013.